Hello, I'm Silmatil. I've noticed that a lot of new players find Pathologic 2 to be exceptionally hard and have a very steep learning curve. Whilst I'm going to do my best not to spoil anything too much, I think there are a few mechanics within the game that should be highlighted. I'm going to try to roughly split this short video up into advice on economics, inventory, medicines, combat, and time management. Part 1. Economics. Unlike other games, Pathologic does not expect you to gain loot and sell it in shops. In fact, the value of your coins will rapidly fluctuate. You're in a survival simulator, and the value of your money plummets as the town's economy rapidly undergoes hyperinflation. Instead, you have to go dumpster diving in order to survive. Trash bins in the game contain all manner of useful items that you can trade with various people. The most common items you'll find are empty water bottles, which you can fill up at water barrels. You can then use these water bottles to trade with drunk guys for bandages or other healing items, and you can trade bandages for pins and trade pins for antibiotics. There is an entire underground economy for nearly everything in the game. You don't always have to go through money-based shops in order to get what you need. That said, there are a few items that will fetch a high price at traditional shops. Pocket watches and rings are very valuable items in terms of cash and might just get you enough coin to buy bread for another day. Some other items that you can find in bins include the following: broken scissors, buttons, beetles, marbles, fishing hooks, safety pins, chalk, metal scraps, springs, calipers. I'm sure there's more too that I haven't covered. All of these can be traded with townsfolk via the barter system. The barter system is fairly intuitive, but just in case it isn't clear, you select what you want to get, and you can offer what you want to give. You have to give the townsperson something of equal or greater value than the item you want. That value is then shown at the bottom of the screen. If you find that you can only trade at a loss, that's okay. You'll still get a reputation boost for trading at a loss. Different people will consider the same items to be of different values. If you find that you have an item that the person doesn't consider valuable, it might be better to wait until you find someone who'll give you a better deal for that item. In short, loot all the junk items that you can, and trade and barter them with others. It's more reliable than buying them in the shops. Part 2. Inventory. Your inventory capacity is quite low at the start of the game. Playing inventory Tetris is something that becomes a problem very quickly if you're not trying to actively upgrade your inventory, and that too is a difficult thing to figure out. In the first 2 days of the game, your inventory capacity isn't yet upgradable. There are a few places in the world that you can store your inventory, but not all of them are safe. Lara Ravel's house can sometimes be plagued by thieving townsfolk who will steal your stash if you leave anything there. Big Vlad's house, however, seems pretty safe to leave your items in. Following this, you can upgrade your inventory in your hideout. You'll need a needle, some thread, and a cloak to do it, though. You can usually buy a cloak in a clothing store, or loot it from a burnt-out house. This will get you a little more space, but you still don't have a lot, so you'll need to be careful with what you take with you. The items that you do actively use all have certain levels of durability, and will become less effective the more they are used. This can be most easily seen with combat items. For example, damaged guns have markedly worse accuracy and less stopping power. You can repair items in your hideout, but it'll cost you resources to do it. The resources required to repair an item will increase as the item becomes more damaged. For example, a near-broken scalpel will need a chisel, grindstone, and razor to sharpen it when it's most damaged, but will only need a grindstone alone if it has taken minimal damage. Part 3. Medicines. The game's mechanics in regards to infection are fairly robust. You have a certain level of immunity, which is depleted when you come into contact with infection. Lose all your immunity, and you are likely to become infected. Once infected, there is no way to get rid of it other than by a miracle cure, so the best thing to do is to never get infected. There are a few items that will temporarily boost your immunity: immunity tablets, Twirin, and tinctures. You can use the 3 of these as prophylactic measures with your patients as well. Of these, Twirin does very little. Immunity tablets and regular tinctures give moderate amounts of protection. The more powerful tinctures give far more protection, but it is worth noting that there is no way to give your patients 100% foolproof prophylaxis. To make tinctures, you need to gather twire herbs. There are multiple types of twire herbs, and each different mixture will produce a specific color of tincture. going to give a spoiler here for which herbs produce which tincture, so if you want to find out for yourself, skip this part of the video. There is also a large poster on the wall beside the brewing kit to prompt you with which herbs produce which tinctures. Brown and black twire will always produce an orange tincture. Black and blood twire will always produce a green tincture. Brown and blood twire will always produce a white tincture. When swevery is mixed with anything, it will produce a super green tincture. When white whip is mixed with anything, it will produce a super white tincture. When ashen swish is mixed with anything, it will produce a super orange tincture. Part 4. Combat. As hinted at earlier, the durability of combat items will highly influence how effective you are in a fight. However, any weapon is better than no weapon at all. When fighting with your fists, your punches will be relatively slow and easily blocked. You can also very easily run into exhaustion, at which point your attacks are no longer effective. When fighting with a melee weapon, all your attacks will be faster regardless of what state of repair the weapon is in. It is therefore more valuable to attack with a completely broken scalpel than it is to attack with your fists. Each attack won't do much damage, but the attacks will be significantly faster and have more of a chance to interrupt or stagger your opponent. When fighting with ranged weapons, it is worth remembering that this is an expensive endeavour. Each bullet is stored in your inventory space, and every firearm in the game is expensive to maintain and operate. An individual pistol bullet can cost up to 100 coins and has a fairly minimal stopping power, and that is your cheapest option. Consider if the cost to benefit ratio is worth it for your playstyle. An underutilized part of the game is stealth. If you sneak up behind an enemy, you can often stealth attack them, which is a tactic that can help you out of tricky situations, particularly in the late game. Backstabbing an enemy whilst in stealth will often prevent other enemies spotting you and gang rushing you. Part 5. Time. Time management is a critical issue within this game. You should never rest easily. If you seem to have a moment of respite, spend that time wisely. Do not waste it. Use it to pick up junk, trade for items, or loot dead buildings. The only moments where time is paused are the following: talking with someone, opening your inventory, opening your map, looking at your thoughts, looking at your people, opening the main menu, and trading or autopsying a body. I'm going to leave the video here with just some general comments. The main ones are that dying is not the end within this game. It's better to carry on forward and face the consequences of having made the mistakes that you have than it is to go back. You will lose more content by ignoring death or trying to save scum your way out of it than you would by just accepting the consequences and moving forward. If you're having trouble with hunger, which seems to be the most common issue that people are facing, the main ways to get food are buying it in the shops, trading with children, or trading with steppe people. If you want to trade with children, you give them junk. If you want to trade with the steppe people, you give them tinctures. That's really the cheapest way to do things. Good luck, everybody.